don't know. So when I went to Puerto Rico, the recipe was corrected. So I wanted to make another YouTube video and bring you the right recipe, because you know all my videos that I bring to you are my own recipes. I do love watching other people that have cooking tutorials, because I just enjoy watching people cook. It's comforting to me. I love it. So when I bring you a cooking tutorial, it's my recipe, or should I say my dad's or my mom's or somebody in my family recipe, or stuff that I kind of tweaked, recipes that I tweaked on my own. So I'm glad that before she passed, God had, you know, allowed me to go to Puerto Rico and see her one last time, and she was very in tune when I saw her, and I'm glad that she corrected me, because it was important for me to get this recipe right. I could have asked my dad, but when I do recipes, I do it the way that I normally do it. So with that said, let's get started on this tutorial, which is bacalao with guanimes, and in English is codfish with dumplings. Okay, so I want to show you the bag that the bacalao came in. So this is the bag that the codfish came in, and it's without the bones, because as you guys know, the codfish can have little thin bones, nothing major, but you still don't want them in your mouth. So this one is sin espina, and that means without the little bones. Okay, so this is a 16-ounce bag. You can get an 8-ounce bag. We got a 16-ounce bag, and you can also get the big piece of dry bacalao, the codfish, and it's very salty. Then it's a process to soak it and everything else. This one here, I did soak it this morning before I left, before I went to church, because I already knew that I was going to be I had already soaked the bacalao. This is the bacalao right here. I soaked it this morning, like I said. Before I went to church, I cleaned the rinsed the water out, put fresh water, and you kind of want to do this step because codfish, like I said, is very salty, and if you do not take the time to clean the water out and put fresh water in to get rid of the saltiness that's in that water, your codfish, when you cook, whatever dish you use it for, will be salty, and it's not a good salt because it's very salty. So this is rinsed and ready to go. Now we have all-purpose flour, and that's what we're going to be using to make our guanimes. So I added 4 cups of flour. I may need more, I don't know. Normally I don't measure it, I just dump it in a bowl, but I want to kind of give you the right measurements so that it makes it a little easier for you to try this recipe if it's your first time making it. So that's 4 cups of all seasoned flour. Okay, then I have some water that is mediocre, more on the cooler side, I want to say, and this we're going to be using it to make our dumplings. Another thing that we're going to need to make our dumpling is going to be salt. This is pink salt because this is what I use, but you can use any salt. But you will need a little salt to salt your flour, and oil as well. I have olive oil, but you can use any oil to also make your dumpling. So I'll kind of put that there so that you know that all is what we're going to be using for our dumpling. Now for the bacalao part, the codfish part, which the codfish that I'm making bacalao is like a codfish stew. If you guys ever made a stewed chicken, a stewed beef, it's kind of the same concept. Just with bacalao, and you could add shrimp to this as well and other seafood if you like, but today I'm just going to be using the bacalao. So this is the 16 ounces of bacalao that already been rinsed, and to this, when we add it to our pan, we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil or regular cooking oil, and we're also going to be adding some cilantro. Now all this here that I'm about to show you if you buy store-bought sofrito or if you have your own sofrito, you don't need to do this process. Unless you want to, you can do both. This is just a bunch of cilantro, which I roughly, oops, almost dropped it, roughly chopped. Here I have one medium onion. You can use as much of these ingredients or as less. This is your dish, make it to your preference. So one medium onion, roughly chopped. I have a green pepper, which I roughly chopped as well. Then I have a half a garlic head, which I chopped, and it doesn't have to be perfect. All this is going to be marinated in the pan. Oh, and then we're going to use about half or maybe less of salsa tomate, of tomato sauce. And you know, I always say get whatever's on sale. It doesn't have to be any kind of brand. All right, now I do want to say one thing, that when it comes to cooking bacalao, and many times as you make the recipe, as many times as you may think that you have a mastermind, bacalao is fish and is salty. Therefore, it's never going to taste exactly the same after cleaning it. And with that, the reason that I say that is, when you make the bacalao, you're not always going to use the same measurements as garlic. If you choose to use adobo, it's not always the same measurements. You might end up using 1 packet of sazon, maybe 2. The reason I say that is because codfish is salty. So depending on how salted it is, when you're making the dish, the taste of the salt may vary, where you may not need to use, let's say, 2 teaspoons of garlic or 1 tablespoon of adobo, because the saltiness might be a little too much, that you might not need so many ingredients. Or you could have let your bacalao sit for a long time where it lost most of the salt, so then you might have to season it more with some sazon. Maybe you're going to need 2. You might need 2, you know, a tablespoon of garlic, maybe 2 tablespoons of adobo. So, you know, you got to kind of just, you know, feel it out when you're making your bacalao. As you make it, and go along and taste it, and make sure that it's to your liking. All right, so for this recipe, I'm going to pull my hair back, and we're going to start with making the dumplings. So what we're going to do is just start adding the water, a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, and just kind of getting it to a consistency where it's like clay, where we can mold it and shape it. You don't want it runny or none of that. So with that said, I am going to add a little bit of water, and everybody has their own technique of making guanimos and dumpling, and this is mine, and this is the way that I make it. And I'm going to take a little bit of salt, like so, and I'm just going to sprinkle. You don't want these too salty, because remember, we're going to be serving this with the codfish, so we don't want. So I'm going to sprinkle a little flour on my hands. That way it's easier for me to roll my guanimos. So you can take about maybe this much, a poundful, and you want to roll them up You want to roll it up like so. You're just going back and forth. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay? And they're not going to be perfect, but this is one. And I'm going to lay it on the wax paper. But like I said, you can go and do this next to the stove. That way, as you're rolling them, you can dump them in your boiling salted water. Okay, and this is the other one. And no, they're not going to be perfect. Let me just put a little flour on here, because I don't want them to stick like they're sticking now. Okay, so that's good. And we'll take another handful. Okay, now we continue to the next one. And we're just going to continue doing this until we do all of them. Alright guys, so 4 cups of guanimo made me 4 cups of flour made me 21 guanimos, 21 dumplings, which I am now going to put in my pot of boiling water that's been lightly salted. Okay? We are going to start sauteing our vegetables. Okay, so to that we're going to be adding I'm adding olive oil. You can use whatever oil you want to use. If you want to use canola, any oil, I use olive oil. All right, fresh garlic to that. Just give that a minute to cook a little bit. I love the smell of olive oil. Well, actually the garlic cooking in the olive oil. It smells so good. I love garlic, period. Okay, so to this we're going to add our onion. we're going to add our green pepper. And now we're going to add our cilantro. Yes, my love.
Ran into a cool video, so I just pressed on it. And I was like, this is pretty cool. So I pressed on it. Oh, she made that out of glue.
That's a unicorn?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
A Pegasus unicorn, I forgot what she said.
Oh, what?
A Pegasus unicorn.
Never heard of that. You just told me something.
And she said it cost something. I forgot what the name is, but it's a Pegasus and a unicorn combined in one. And all you have to do is just make circles.
I'm going to cover this for about 5 minutes, just so that my veggies can wilt just a little bit. And my stove is from a 1 to 10, and I have it at a 6. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so it's been like 5 minutes already. And my veggies are wilted some. And now I'm going to start, and I'm going to start by adding the bacalao. Alright guys, so now we're just going to give this a stir. I'm going to add my sofrito. I'm going to add 1 packet of Sazon. And I'm going to stir it. And now I'm going to cover this for about 20 minutes. Matter of fact, I'm going to add my tomato sauce now, the salsa tomate. So I'm going to add about half. I don't measure it, I just kind of eyeball it, of the salsa tomate tomato sauce. And I'm going to give it a good stir. I'm not going to add water to this because I'm going to put this on low to medium heat, covered, and I am going to allow this to produce its own liquid. And then once I uncover it after like 20 minutes, then I'll see if it needs more seasoning. I'll see if I need to add water, and we'll take it from there. Okay. Alright guys, so it's been about 20 minutes and oh, it's a little foggy, sorry. Alright guys, 20 minutes in, and this is the result we have, and this is how much juices it has released. So we're going to use those juices kind of like a base, okay? Now we're going to get our dumplings, the guanimes, and we're going to start putting them into this, in with the bacalao. I like to do this because I want my guanimes. There's some people that cook the guanimes, the dumplings, in the water and then put it on a plate and serve the bacalao, the codfish sauce, over the dumplings. I don't like to do that. I like to cook my dumplings inside with my bacalao, my codfish sauce, because it will start to absorb because it will start to absorb all the juices from the bacalao. Now, when you make your dumplings, I should have said this in the beginning when I started making the dumplings. When you cook your dumpling, think of it as pasta. You know, when you make pasta and you boil the pasta, you add salt to the water, and that's it. And then you use that same water, the starches from that water, to incorporate it with your sauce if needed, you know, to thicken it and give it that saltiness to your sauce, any kind of salt flavor that the pasta water releases. That's the same technique that we're going to be doing with the dumplings. We're boiling it in salted water with no oil. Then we're going to use that same water to base the bacalao and the dumplings. So it's the same technique. Let me get a spoon. We're not seasoning. We're not going to season the dumpling and bacalao just yet, okay? Because we're still not sure if the sauce is too salty or what it is. I mean, it's just better to season it towards the end. This smells so good. You guys just don't know. My guanimos look crazy. My dumplings look crazy, but it's okay. Because they're going to taste scrumptious. Ay, ay, ay. I bet the Pioneer woman hasn't made anything like this in her pots. All right, so now we're going to cover this for about 20 more minutes, I say. And make sure it's at low heat, okay? Alrighty, we'll be back. Okay guys, so it's been about 23 minutes. Oh my god, it's a little foggy. I did open it within 15 minutes of cooking, and I did add 3 more soup spoons of water into my guanimo. So it was the starches from the water that the guanimo, that the dumplings made. I used 3 soup spoons of water in here because I don't know, it just looked like it didn't have enough juices. Okay, so I did add 1 extra envelope of sazon, so I am going to taste it now to see how the flavor is going, and then we'll determine whether I need to add adobo or the garlic powder. Okay, so I'm gonna take a spoon. Let's see how this tastes. Oh my god, it's delicious. I don't even think I need anything else. Tastes good. Good, good, good. I am going to add a touch of garlic. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of pink salt. I don't want to add adobo because to me this tastes amazing the way it is. So I don't want to add any extra seasonings to it. I am going to add a little bit of pink salt. And I just feel like it just needs a little bit of salt and nothing else. And it will enhance the flavors of the dumplings as well as our codfish sauce. Doesn't this look delicious? Oh my god, scrumptious. All right guys, so this is basically done already. If you want your dumplings to cook a little longer, by all means you can do that. This already, the bacalao, the codfish alone had cooked for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then when we added the dumplings, the guanimo, it cooked, it cooked an extra, let me see, 20. It cooked an extra 25 minutes. So I am going to cover this for 5 more minutes, then I'm going to turn it off. And I am going to serve it, and I'll be back with the plating, guys. Guys, this is the plating. This is Paul's plate. He is feeding the pigeons, and then he'll be in because he knows after he eats this, he's not going to want to go out. And his pigeons must be fed. So this is the bacalao. The dumplings, I put some, so this is the bacalao. The dumplings, I put some limes there to squeeze on top. This is avocado that I just chopped up, and I seasoned with a tiny bit of olive oil and a little bit of pink salt, and put it on the top of that because you gotta have avocado with bacalao. So this looks scrumptious. This is his plate, but I'm about to break into a piece because I just want to taste it because it looks so good. He gets a pretty plate. You see, you guys, how I treat my man? So this is the bacalao with the dumpling. I don't want to touch his avocado, but it looks good, right? How to focus. Focus. All right, let me taste it. It's filling. If you're having a dinner party or something and you're trying to keep the cost down, this is good. It'll fill them up. It has such an amazing taste, and it's something unique, something that you don't go to everybody's house and always eat. Just make sure that they can eat you know, seafood, fish. I serve this with a glass of wine on the side, and that's all you need. It's really good. On my camera, I'm sorry. And that's all you would need, a glass of wine with this. You can serve it at a dinner party. If you like, you can make, you know, some kind of salad on the side. The only thing that I would have liked to add to mine, which I didn't have, was olives, but I didn't have any olives. So, but if I would have had the green olives, I would have added them. With that said, it's such a quick and easy meal, especially it's a good prepping meal because I can make this and I can make a big pot of it, and then I can divide it individually, and it freezes well, and then all you have to do is warm it up. So this is a great prepping recipe as well. And with that said, I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. It was absolutely delicious, and I'm about to eat now. Oh my God, I was just picking at your food. Big Papa. So I hope that you give this recipe a try. It's one of my favorites. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell for notification. It's SimplyNena with crafting, cooking, and sazon. To the next one.